Welcome aboard. We're on our way to Tantallon to meet Leslie, who has a package for me. So here we go, leaving the Ivan Fraser studio and our residence in Glen Margaret, heading towards Tantallon. I'll give you a little commentary along the way to help you understand some of the byroads and points of interest as we go along. On the right will be the first byroad, Moser Island, where I love to go for walks. After we go past Long Cove here, which we'll be showing you there right now, we will come to a turn, and that was where Granville Moser, the councillor, lived. Then George Bouglier's fish store, and then the Pace property. Bruce Pace was a local butcher, and he had two sons, Graham and Leonard. Leonard became a judge, and later a lieutenant governor of Nova Scotia. There's their house. Graham became a doctor. On the right was where Laurie Fraser lived. He was one of the Frasers. We all came from John and Suzanne. And John's house was up on the hill, which you will not see. I'm pulling over here because I looked in my rearview mirror and I think my camera's a little crooked, so I straightened it up. And you won't see it, but also on the left is Fraser's Lake. And also William Black United Church, where my family rests. That was the old church manse. And on the right was the post office and a general store by Sam and Helen Ruda. And as we go past here now, we'll come to Moore's Road. Harv Moore and his two spinster sisters lived out there, and that was Mrs. Romke's house. Now we're going to go around the turn and down the hill, which we called Woodens River Hill. And at the bottom is the Woodens River, and that is the end of Glen Margaret and the beginning of Seabright. Here we go over the bridge. We're now in Seabright. We will be coming to what is known as Creighton's Turn, and if you've watched any of my other videos, you will know that Dr. Creighton was one of the scientists that helped invent the atomic bomb, and I used to mow his grass. On the hill up there, you would look out over St. Margaret's Bay, and you would see the islands, Troops Island and Moser's Island. He would say, "Ivan, I've traveled the world. There's no place any more beautiful than this." And after we go around this little bend here, we will come on the right to Redmond's Road. And then we're going to go through the stretch. There's Redmond's Road, known as the Seabright Woods. And as I said before, this was where everybody tested the speed of their cars. When I was a teenager with my driver's license, the speed limit on the Peggy's Cove Road was 60 miles an hour. And on the right coming up, you will see Umlaw Road. That's another beautiful spot that takes you to the water. And before that, on your left will be the Legion, which you will not see, and then the Fire Hall. And we're coming along now to Umlaw Road. There it is. And then we passed Shatford's Garage. Coming right here, there's Umlaw Road. I'm sorry. And here comes Shatford's Garage, where I get my repairs done. Anthony Lane, and next is the Cove Gallery and Irwin Hubley Road. And after that will be, on the right, Peggy's Cove Glassblowers. Here comes Peggy's Cove Glassblowers. And the Baptist Church is now converted into a home. And now comes McDonald's Point. And at the end of McDonald's Point was Uncle Willie. He was a blacksmith. He was a genius. He could make almost anything. And he had very crude tools. I remember when he got some electric machines to help with his blacksmithing. But he was a genius. Here we go, French Village Harbor, looking out on towards St. Margaret's Bay. And as we go along here, we had an annoying time because they're working on the road where it got washed away a bit from Hurricane Fiona. And so we get stopped here on the way back from this trip. I actually had to wait 20 minutes. And I was back there today and I had to wait another 15 minutes. I don't know why they didn't let us go up on the old road. We could have avoided all that, but it seems like they like to tie up traffic. And after we go through this construction, on the right will be Birchall's Wharf, which is now back in operation. But it was a famous place for fresh fish. Get ready. There it is, Birchall's Wharf. And next we will come to Albert's Wharf Gallery. Albert was a one-legged fisherman, as I had mentioned before. My cousin Kathy, who helped me in my Peggy of the Cove book, Secrets, to edit it. She was like a daughter to Albert, and she would be fishing with him, helping him. And she knew the whole scenario of the fishing industry on the inshore fisheries. And there will be Albert's Wharf right there. And now Neil Depew owns it, and it's a gallery, although he has a place now in Peggy's Cove, Degar Studio, so he's not operating out of Albert's Wharf. On the left was my Uncle Sammy and Aunt Frances and my cousins, Sandra, Nora, Irene, and Jean. And next we will be coming to Croucher's Point Road, where there's Mariner's Anchorage. There's a little beach there right at the beginning of the French Village Harbor. Lots of folks like to use it. Next will be Atten Road, named after Judge Bill Atten. And beyond that will be Indian Point. And it's a beautiful ride out there. A must-see if you like to see a view of the bay. After we pass Indian Point Road, you'll notice a building on the right. It was the general store. Every community had a general store, a post office, and a schoolhouse. There it is there. And this is where you can get, next building, you can get your four-wheeler repaired. And then there's Paul's Hall. Right there, the yellow building that was named after the church, St. Paul's Church. And they sold the hall when it was moved up there. Now it's Paul's Hall. It's a restaurant. Well, it's a cafe. And then on the right, coming up after we've passed my friends here, you will come to Longard's Road. And that's where my wife now used to live. And right past that is, there's Longard's Road coming up, Tantallon Seventh-day Adventist Church. Here we go. We just left Glenhaven and now we're into Tantallon. And there's the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Next will be Shining Waters Marina, which is a very popular spot for boaters. And after that, we will come on the turn, and there is Mackerel Cove Road, and then Rum Runners Lane, and then we will pass Susie's Turn. There's to Susie's Turn. Little Susie lived in a little building on the left. Oh yes, there's Peggy's Cove Auto Repair. Actually, it's Peggy's Cove Road. And then will be the post office, and right there. And this used to be a gallery, Rye Cove Gallery. Next on the right is Bussey's Auto Sales. Oh yes, I pulled over here to let the cars go by so you could get a better view of what's behind. As we go around this turn, you will not probably see, but Evelyn Lane is there. Evelyn's Lane is named after my wife's grandmother, Evelyn. And this is April's territory. She grew up in Tantallon most of her life. On the right is Wynot's Point, another beautiful drive out there. And it goes on the other side of the point, and you can see out into St. Margaret's Bay, the Schooner Cove area. It is a gorgeous drive. This is the first Tantallon stretch. Again, another popular spot for testing out the speed of your car. This is stretch number 1, and we will go past a little turn or two, and then we have to come to stretch number 2. And on the right will be your reupholstery for cars and commercial. They do not do residential furniture, unfortunately. Right in there. And now, this is the beginning of the second Tantallon stretch. And at the end of that, we will cross over a little, well, it's a river. And right on the right, on the other side of the river, was Joe's Canteen, where you could get fish and chips and pop and, all that ice cream and all that stuff that a canteen had. It was a real popular spot. Canteens were a big thing in the 50s and 60s. The bridge, and right there on the right here, was Joe's Canteen. Next on the right, you will see Acadia Maple. It started out many years ago as DNA Takeout, and it was David and Alberta. And they eventually sold it, and then it became Acadia Maple. Very popular spot and a great business. And they sold, and now it's taken over by new owners. There it is right there. Now we're coming to the crossroads, where the end of 333 meets Highway 3. We'll make a turn, and then we'll be on Highway 3. Then we will make another turn and be onto Hammond's Plains Road. On the right, you may catch a little glimpse of Redmond's Hardware. Wayne Redmond, we went to school together in Glen Margaret, and he bought that property. It was an old garage, and he turned it into Redmond's Hardware, and then he kept adding to it, and it became a very popular spot. Here we go. We're going to make a turn onto the Hammond's Plains Road, and we'll soon be at our destination. This is now a very popular corner. We have Superstore, we have Canadian Tire, Lawton's, dentists, doctors, optometrists. There's 4 or 5 service stations for gas, and it's just taken off. You see this car? I think she sees my camera duct taped to the top of the trunk, getting a good view so she can be in the video. I don't know, I'm just guessing. We will be coming to a section up here known as the Hubley Center. And you notice those cars there? That's an elementary school. And then we have high school and fire department. You won't see those things. But the Hubley Center has all kinds of places there. Another mall area. But Lester Hubley bought that property years ago. There was nothing there. And one day he stopped to take a look at it, and David Boulier stopped to chat with Lester. Lester says, "David, you see all those cars driving by?" David says, "Yes." He said, "They all have money in their pockets, and I'm going to help them take it out." Well, he sure does. Unfortunately, he's gone to his rest. But he did build up that place. He did a fine job. So, as we come to another light, let's see what this car does behind me. Closer, closer, and closer. One night, my alternator went on my van, and I was driving from Halifax, and I got behind a big truck, and when the cars went past, I turned up my lights and followed the truck, and he knew what had happened. And just before we got to the intersection here, where the next light is, a car was coming, so I pulled on my lights. As soon as it came past me, I turned them out. When I came to the stop sign, that was a stop sign then, the police stopped me. Wanted to know if I was drinking, and when I turned my lights, and I told them my alternator died and my battery was dead, and by the time, when they made me stop, the engine conked out. They had to push me across the road. And just then my friend Brian Shatford's Reg, came by. This was 11:30 at night, and picked me up and took me home. So that was quite a little episode. And here we are, going, and we'll soon be turning into Sobeys in the library, where I will meet Leslie. So that is a little trip from Glen Margaret to Tantallon with some commentary for you. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, share it with your friends. We invite you to follow onto our Glen Margaret Facebook page. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. We're going to make a turn here. We'll go into the library area, and that will take care of our trip. There'll be more trips coming along. At least that's the plan. If all goes according to the schedule. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you later.